Hi, welcome to an all new purchase or pass. I haven't done one of these in a minute and there are a lot of things for us to talk about today. I can't say I'm super interested to buy many of these new launches, but what is very intriguing to me is a lot of the themes that we're seeing repeating. So I want to talk about those today, starting with one that we've seen pretty prominently in beauty for the last few years, and that is what I'm calling food frenzy. Okay, it is nothing new to say that beauty has been aligning itself with food for a while now, but this theme seems to be carrying us through 2025 as well. You cannot escape it. The brand most well known for doing this is of course Rhode. Even at the time that I'm sitting down to film this today, their most recent Instagram post is captioned "feeling peachy," and half of the imagery in the carousel is food related. So why is everything food focused? Because like I said, it is not this new phenomenon that just started. This has been a consistent theme for a while now. I've heard a few different explanations for this, and if anything, I think it's a combination of many different things. Beauty writer Jessica DeFino says, "The popularity of food-inspired beauty products and gourmand scents in particular speaks to a sublimated desire for the things we don't or won't eat in the age of Ozempic." I've also seen it connected to this idea of a little treat culture, especially right now when a lot of things feel quite bleak. There's this idea of giving yourself a little treat. Maybe that's going to a coffee shop, maybe it's grabbing a little pastry, and this food imagery that we've married with our beauty products fits into that theme so neatly, even leading people to conflate beauty product consumption with the idea of self-care. And the imagery of food calls back on that idea of using beauty products as a little reward or a little treat. When maybe you're having a bad day, you go buy a new Rhode lip gloss. We even saw The Ordinary playing into this idea last month. In their New York brick and mortar store, they were selling eggs. As you know, it's pretty hard to find eggs right now. I guess that's depending on where you live, but The Ordinary was selling them in their store as a way to bring people in. They were selling affordable eggs for $3.37, which I can say is much lower than most of the egg prices I have been seeing here in New York. Also under this food frenzy theme, we have seen some cherry stragglers, okay? In the previous purchase or pass video that I posted, we talked extensively about the cherry trend. Every brand, and I am not exaggerating, seemingly every beauty brand has launched a cherry collection in 2025. We talked about so many in the last video, and there are even more in the few months since then. Tarte has done a cherry collection. Fenty did more cherry launches. They had cherry launches before, but they did a collection called Cherries Gone Bad. Essence just launched a So Cherry Happy collection. It's almost been comical how many cherry launches we have gotten, and I say this as someone who loves like a cherry design. It's something I have throughout my home, but it's been a lot, and I kind of almost have to feel bad for these brands. Like, there's a part of me that's like, who told all of these beauty brands you should do a cherry collection in 2025? Because this is insane. Also under this theme, we've been getting a lot of food adjacent collabs with beauty brands, even toothpaste brands. Moon, the dental company, just collaborated with Sprinkles Cupcakes. I thought this was a fascinating collab. I don't know if dentists would put their stamp of approval on a sugary treat collabing with a dental care brand, but nevertheless, we have a Sprinkles collab with Moon. Say is doing a matcha collab with Rockey's Matcha. And that Tarte cherry collection that I mentioned a minute ago was also a collab with another food brand. That was a collaboration with Tru Fru. So random. We've also seen this carry through with the popularity of gourmand scents in fragrance. Like, everything is very edible right now in beauty. But speaking of fragrance, it is a very floral spring. Groundbreaking, right? We have seen a lot of very floral, very rose launches in fragrance right now, which feels quite predictable for the time of year. But what I found funny when I was compiling my list for the video was the names here, okay? KELLYG Fleur Majesty, Glossier Fleur, and then Fleur Rose. I don't typically like florals, but I do have two of these. I'm curious to smell the new KELLYG one, but I really love Glossier Fleur. I talked about this in my Glossier video. I just did the brand story of Glossier. That one's up on my channel. I'll leave it down below if you want to see that one. But this is delicious. I love all of the Glossier You perfumes. But I've been surprised by how much I like Rose Whip from Fleur. It's interesting because in the bottle, I do not like it. I'm like, okay, it's very rose forward in the bottle, but when you spray it on the skin as it sits down, It's not as sharp with that rose. You get a little bit more of that soft, musky base. Sol de Janeiro also just launched a new floral in their Mist collection. We've also just recently gotten a new floral from the brand Noise. So if you like floral perfumes, now is your time to shine. The next theme that I want to talk about is one that I have named Original is Out. This, like the food concept, is something we've been seeing for a while, but it has only grown. And I was actually just reading an article from the Wall Street Journal about original movies and how they're performing terribly because people only want to go and see spin-offs, remakes, or a series. Even though anecdotally I hear people saying, you know, I'm sick of remakes, I'm sick of everything being a spin-off. I want to see original movies. The numbers just don't reflect that. They write, after years of gripes from average moviegoers and Hollywood insiders alike about the seemingly non-stop barrage of sequels, spin-offs, and adaptations of comic books and toys, the film industry placed more bets on original ideas. The results have been ugly. This concept perfectly mirrors what we've been observing in the beauty industry for the last few years. Nothing is original. Everything is a shade expansion or a collaboration with some popular IP, or their brands launching new products, but it's their own version of something that's already super popular in the market. Like every single brand launching bronzing drops last year, every single brand launching a glowy primer the year before that. There's no innovation, nothing is new, nothing is exciting. And again, anecdotally, I hear from people that they want new products, they want innovation, they want exciting things. But then when you look at what is selling, it is the lip balms. That's why every brand is coming out with lip balms, because they're selling right now. So we're seeing a lot of brands play it safe and sticking with things that they know will work. Like from Rhode, we just saw that they gave us a new shade of their pocket blushes, food themed of course. Glossier just gave us a new shade of their balm.com, food themed of course. Every brand that did not already have a squeezy tube lip balm is working on releasing theirs in 2025, or even some brands that already had a squeezy tube lip balm reformulated and then gave us new ones, like e.l.f. We have seen in the last month alone, a million. We've got e.l.f., we've got NYX, we've got new shades from multiple brands. The Offset just gave us colored versions of the ones that they had. It's all about a lip balm in a squeezable package. I also think the end of originality helped feed the popularity of celebrity brands the last few years, because these brands with notable figures don't require as much innovation or excitement or new products, because there's already going to be that built-in customer base through their fans. And while we could argue that bubble is bursting, it is undeniable that we are still getting celebrity brands launching today. The newest one is this lipstick line from SZA called Not Beauty. We knew this was coming. We were getting some sneak peeks about it, and I love SZA. I have been a fan since Z. I love her so much. And I've watched a few interviews that she's shared about this brand, and it doesn't necessarily sound like it's going to be a full beauty brand, though it could. But the idea of the name Not is that it's not really a beauty brand, and she wants to keep that name to potentially go new directions in the future. She talked about maybe even selling furniture one day and calling it Not Furniture. I will say I was not surprised to see a lip product launch from the brand, especially considering the popularity of the lip category for the last few years now. I don't know that this individual launch is really calling to me, but I'm fascinated to see how this brand plays out, because as of right now, you can't buy this anywhere except for on her tour that she's currently doing with Kendrick Lamar. So you can buy it at the show in person, but you and I, if you're not at the show, you can't even go buy the product online. In general, I think a lip product is a tougher sell right now because it is such a saturated market. That being said, I find the angle that they're pursuing really fascinating, that they're building so much hype for this product, making it highly exclusive because you can only get it on the tour right now. I'm sure one day that will open up and more customers will be able to purchase it, but they're definitely drumming up a lot of excitement by keeping it so hyper exclusive. So we will have to see where that brand goes, and I'm curious if we will get more beauty products outside of the additional upcoming lip products that have been confirmed, or if she will move over to other categories. We are also seeing the beauty industry start to prioritize more than just your face, okay? Not just skincare, not just makeup, not just hair. I know that's not your face, but it's your head, but most beauty launches have been designated for this region of the body, not so much down, okay? Granted, there has always been body wash, body lotion. There is a body market. I'm not naive to that. But we've been seeing even more of a push for it recently, even from more traditional beauty brands. Fenty just brought back their body lavas. Patrick Ta just launched body products. Drunk Elephant, who has had body skincare, has expanded on that recently with a hand cream launch. And I was even just reading an article from the Business of Fashion called "The Next Wellness Frontier, Your Mouth." They write, just when wellness devotees thought they had their gut in check, the beauty industry is on to its next area of focus, your mouth. The article also states that how to improve the oral microbiome searches are up over 5,000% globally from the last month alone. And they talked about how oral care is set to be the next big beauty category. And when I read that, I thought, I'm surprised we didn't see this coming sooner, because again, I feel like we've kind of maxed out everything we can do on the body in terms of hygiene and self-care. I put that in air quotes there, but we talked last year about so many brands launching whole care products for down there. But one thing we've observed in beauty recently is an increased emphasis on hygiene. Especially in the social media realm, there has been such an influx in hygiene hauls, hygiene routines, hygiene-focused videos, that this feels like it could be the next evolution of that. It actually makes me think of a topic that I talked about in a video a few months ago about how home care and like cleaning products are merging with fragrance, and we're getting these more elevated, luxurious versions of like home cleaners. Really elevated scents for room sprays or for different detergents and cleaning agents. I wouldn't be surprised to see an oral care version of this, where we're having this very luxurious experience of like, I even think of like cocoa floss, the very elevated floss, making this daily task something a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more fun. It's tough because I think there's kind of a cap on toothpaste. Like personally, I only want a minty flavor. I know some people use others, but like I just want my toothpaste to taste like mint. I do not want bubblegum. I do not want Sprinkles cupcake collab. I think that's a bit of a limitation, but it does make me think like, where could oral care go? I could see it becoming very elevated, very luxurious. Not that you need to do that. But again, it's this very persistent trend we've been seeing in beauty, so I will not be surprised to see it translate to that category as well. Another thing I've noticed, when I was scrolling through Trendwood the other day, I was like, oh, stick product, stick product, stick product. I'm like, where are all the pans? Apparently pans are out and sticks are in. So of course, cream formulas have been really big for the last few years, but a cream product could be packaged in two different options. You could put it in a compact or you could put it in a stick. And the choice these days seems to be a stick. Even just recently, we've seen stick foundations from Tarte, from ColourPop, from Milani. House Labs just gave us highlighter sticks. We've been seeing a lot of eyeshadow sticks. Fenty just expanded their eyeshadow sticks, which I don't really like those. We've got some from Juvia's Place. Too Faced just launched eyeshadow sticks. Urban Decay just gave us some eyeshadow sticks. Lip products are all in this format. LYS just launched a plumping lip balm in a stick format. Every blush, bronzer, contour, it is in a stick. Okay, and personally, I prefer a pan. If you were gonna give me the two, I'm always gonna choose the pan. So I don't know that I like the popularity of stick format products right now, but I do understand that it's kind of popular. So why are stick products so popular right now? I'm curious from anyone who works in product production if it is cheaper to make something in a stick. Part of me thinks it would be, but then part of me questions the mechanism that turns it. If you are an expert, please let us know. I'm so curious. But what I don't like about a stick product is there is the illusion that it is an easier application, but I would argue that that's not the case, okay? I think it's all a facade. Stick bronzer is the perfect example of this. I see so many people really advocate for a stick bronzer because they say, oh, you can just swipe it on your face and then you tap it in. In my experience, that never looks as good as if I were to put it on a brush and apply it like that. So at that point, it is easier for me to pick it up directly from a pan instead of picking it up from a stick, because when I'm using a stick, I have to usually put it on the back of my hand, and then it kind of makes a mess, and like, sure, that's just a small thing, but I'd still prefer a pan. If you apply it directly onto the skin and try to blend it out, 9 times out of 10, unless it is a fantastic formula, you're gonna kind of disrupt the foundation or anything beneath it. It's not gonna look as seamless. I just don't like that application. So I think the idea of a stick being easier or being effortless really is an illusion. My truth is that a compact is actually more effortless, less effort, if you will. And what I find most interesting about the popularity of stick foundations right now, and I will say stick foundations really had their moment a few years back, they died off and now they're kind of having a resurgence. There's something about putting it in a stick that I think gets people more excited than if you were to put that exact same formula into a compact. I don't know what it is. If you were to tell someone this is a cream foundation, because that's what it is, a stick foundation is a cream foundation, something about that description in the consumer's head, like it sounds heavy, it sounds greasy, it doesn't sound cosmetically elegant, like, oh, a cream foundation, heavy, gross. A stick foundation, which is a cream foundation, feels, again, effortless, easy, when at the end of the day, it is the same product in two different vessels. I actually do really enjoy a cream foundation, like in a pan. They're not that plentiful, okay? Not very many brands make that, but one that I love is from Salt New York. I have one of their pans, and that's one of my favorites when I just want something easy. It's also one of my favorites to touch up, so you can just tap a brush in and apply it over a foundation like hours later, and it's not gonna disrupt it the same way a liquid foundation probably would. Highly recommend. I do have a code with Salt New York, I'm pretty sure. I'll put it on the screen. Again, it's really fascinating to watch the sudden excitement around cream foundations, but seemingly no one will call them that name. The foundation stick that Anastasia Beverly Hills launched last year, they are calling a skin tint stick. Not a foundation stick. They call it like a beauty balm, skin tint in a stick. When I read that, I was like, okay, words have just lost all meaning. Like, this is a cream foundation, but again, that doesn't give the right visual to the consumer. Calling it a skin tint stick illustrates a completely different vision in their heads, but they're getting away with that because it is in a stick format. But this is something I've been noticing at large with beauty launches recently. The names have gone from something logical to something SEO friendly. Like, they're intentionally popping every buzzword into the title in hopes of coming up high in search rankings. Like Pure Cosmetics' newest lip oil, they call it the Glossy Lip Tint Plumping Tinted Lip Oil. That is just a word salad of like every buzzword of trendy lip products at the moment. Again, in hopes that their product will come up in a search. Product names aren't even meant to appeal to the customer anymore. They're meant to appeal to the algorithm. Let me know your thoughts, as well as your thoughts on all the other new launches we talked about today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.